Hello and welcome to this, the nominations for the British Podcast Awards 2020, powered by Acast. We'll be announcing the best shows of the last year, as chosen by over 60 independent judges working in the industry here in the UK and across the world. But I can't do it by myself. There are 24 categories to get through, so let's reveal our wall of guest presenters. Look at them there. It's like we've rebooted Celebrity Squares. That's a reference in the script that I do not get. Now, each of the categories will be featured in our own podcast series, The Shortlist, which drops new episodes from today, showcasing the best clips from this year's nominees. You can find The Shortlist wherever you get your podcasts, as I believe we're contractually obliged to say, or just go to podfollow.com/shortlist. And stay tuned until the end of the stream for some very special announcements. Right, let's get cracking with the first nomination. I have the envelope here. Let's see where it lands.
Hello, this is Jeff Lloyd in the Bath in Stoke Newington. And the nominations for Best Arts and Culture Podcast supported by Pod Bible are Best Pick, The Spontaneity Shop, Classical Fix, BBC Radio 3 production, Rule of Three, Great Big Owl, Selfridge's Hot Air presents State of the Arts, Radio Wolfgang, Somerset House, and Song by Song, Sam Pay and Martin Zoltz-Ostwick. Good luck, everybody.
Oh, thank you very much. Hello, I'm Jay Rayner, and I'm talking to you from my kitchen in Brixton in South London, delighted to be part of the awards nominations announcement. So let's get this envelope open and see what it says. Right, the nominees for Best Business Podcast are Doing It for the Kids, by Doing It for the Kids, Jazz Shapers, sponsored by Mishcon de Rea, Jazz FM, Money Talks, for Economist Radio, Squiggly Careers, by Helen Tupper and Sarah Ellis, Tales of Silicon Valley, the Times and Wireless Studios, and the Northern Power Women podcast by Northern Power Women. Good luck to all the nominees. May the best podcast win. And now, let's get this next envelope over.
Thank you. And the nominees for Best Comedy Podcast supported by Acast are Brian and Roger from Great Big Owl, Dear Joan and Jericha by Julia Davis and Vicky Pepperdine, Josh Berry's Fake News from Union Jack Radio, Corrupt FM from Audible UK, Mind Canyon by Charlie Kemp and Steve Dawson, and Off Menu with Ed Gamble and James Acaster from Plosive Productions. Good luck, champs.
British Podcast Awards. Hello, it's James Barr from a gay and a non-gay. Oh, 1 second. I'm glad I finally found a use for our sign after our tour got postponed. Nothing wrong with a bit of self-promo, babes. All right, it's time to get to the envelope. Here we go. The nominees for Best Branded Podcast are #QueerAF, Jamie Wareham for National Student Pride, Deep Mind, the podcast, Whistledown Productions for Deep Mind, Meet Me at the Museum, Art Fund, On the Mary Curie Couch, Mary Curie, Penguin Podcast, Something Else, and The Rough Guide to Everywhere, Reduced Listening for Rough Guides. Good luck, guys. I hope you win.
Hello, I'm James O'Brien from LBC, currently broadcasting from my state-of-the-art home studio, or shed, as it was called until about 2 months ago. Now, I am delighted to share with you the nominations for Best Sports Podcast, supported by Audioboom, and the nominations are Football Inside Out from the FIFA Women's World Cup 2019. That was made by We Are Great for Copa 90. The Beautiful Brain, Hannah Walker-Brown for Audible UK. The Cycling Podcast, Richard Moore, Lionel Burney and Daniel Freber. The X's and O's podcast from X's and O's, The Game Changers from Promote PR, and The Totally Football Show. by Muddy Knees Media for the Totally Football Network. Best of luck to everybody.
Right, hello, I'm Craig Parkinson, host of the Two Shot Podcast. I'm here in my bedroom in Cheltenham. So let's see who the nominees are for Best Current Affairs Podcast. And they are Full Disclosure with James O'Brien, Global Original, Stance Podcast, Crystal Genesis, The Intelligence, Economist Radio, The Tortoise Podcast, Tortoise Media, The Week Junior Show, Fun Kids and The Week Junior, and finally, today in focus, The Guardian. Right, I wish everybody all the best and good luck. And now we'll take this and give it here.
Hello everyone, I'm Christiana Manpour coming to you from my kitchen and now CNN studio. And I'm delighted to be announcing the nominations for Best Daily Podcast supported by Podfollow. Let's find out. Here we are. The nominees for Best Daily Podcast are Beyond Today, BBC Radio 4, Love Island, The Morning After, The Globalist, Monocle 24, The Rob Orton Daily Podcast, Plosive Productions, The Santa Daily, Fun Kids, and today in focus, The Guardian. So, good luck to you all.
Hi, I'm Dustin Lance Black here in my office in London, and I have the privilege and the pleasure of reading the nominees for Best Family Podcast. They are Ask the Nincompoops, Great Big Owl, Breaking Mom and Dad, Anna Williamson, David Williams' marvelous musical podcast, Global, Diddy Pod, from Kieran Murtar, Andrew Barnett-Jones, and Steve Ride, The Intended Parent, Fran and Krina, and last but not least, The Trapdoor, Sophie Black. Good luck to all of you.
Hi, I'm Emma Gannon, the host of Control-Alt-Delete, sat here in London on a sunny day. Very excited to open this envelope. So the nominees for Best Fiction Podcast are Brian and Roger, Great Big Owl, Coexistence, Coex Studios, Fall of the Shah, Steve Waters for BBC World Service, Hag, Thomas Curry, Harriet Poland, and Tom McKillian for Audible UK, Mockery Manor, Lawrence Owen and Lindsay Sharman, and Passenger List, Gold Hawk Productions and Radiotopia. Congratulations to the nominees, and I'm very excited to find out more.
Thanks, Emma. Right, back to me for a few. Let's dive in to Best Interview. Here are the nominees. Trust Issues, The Infected Blood Scandal, Rachel Botsman. Declassified, Michael Coates. Homo Sapiens, Homo Sapiens. How to Kill an Hour, Marcus Bronzy. Out to Lunch with Jay Rayner, Something Else. And Today in Focus, The Guardian. Next up is Best Live Episode. You remember when things were live in front of people sitting 2 meters away from each other? Those truly were golden days. Right, this category is supported by Latitude Festival, which we cannot wait to return to in 2021. So the nominees for Best Live Episode, supported by the Latitude Festival, are Blood on the Tracks, Shooting Shark. Can we just ask, can anyone be an activist? Annie Clark and Will Klempner. Nobody Panic, Plosive Productions. Tailenders, TBI Media. Tape Notes, The Empire Film Podcast, Bauer Media. Congratulations to all of you, and I really hope that you're back in front of a live audience again very, very soon. And I think I'm just going to do one more, so let's have a look at another new category, which is Best Network or Publisher, supported by 4DC, the podcast strategists. The nominees are The Athletic, BBC World Service, The Guardian, Mags Creative, Something Else, Studio 71. Okay, congrats. Let's keep our envelopes moving.
Hi, I'm George the Poet, broadcasting live from my home. Let's get into it. The nominees for Best New Podcast, supported by Factory Studios, are Accentricity, Sadie Ryan, Masala Podcast, Sangeeta Pillai for Soul Sultras, Shagged, Married, Annoyed, Chris and Rosie Ramsey for Avalon Television, the IMO Podcast, Chris and Michelle for the IMO Project, The Last Bohemians, House of Hutch, The Logbooks, Adam Smith, Tash Walker, and Shivani Dave. Well done to all the nominees and best of luck.
Thanks. Hello, I'm Giles Brandreth, broadcasting to you from my podcast library here in southwest London. It's a virtual library. These aren't real books. It's just a slide. Okay, here goes. Let's see what we've got in the envelope. The nominees for Best Radio Podcast, supported by Radioplayer, are Ellie and Anna Have Issues, from Ellie and Anna for Global. Commode and Mayo's Film Review, Something Else for BBC Radio 5 Live. The Chris Moyles Show on Radio X, Chris Moyles for Global. The Santa Daily, from Diva Web for Fun Kids. The Skewer, John Holmes for BBC Radio 4, and Tunnel 29, Helena Merriman for BBC Radio 4. Good luck to all of you. May the best podcast win. This for you.
Hello everyone, Annie Mac here, coming from the Rave Shed. I'm about to read you some nominations. So, the nominees for Best Sex and Relationships Podcasts are Queer AF, Jamie Wareham for National Student Pride, Amalia by Amalia, Brown Girls Do It Too from BBC Asian Network, Foxgiven, Come Curious for Studio 71 UK, Masala Podcast, Sangeeta Pillai for Soul Sutras, and The Breakup Monologues by Rosie Wilby. Sending you all my luck for this wonderful round.
Hi, it's Katie Piper here. Let's see who the nominees are for the British Podcast Awards. Da, da, da. The nominees for Best True Crime Podcast are Paradise, Dan Maudsley for 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the Bellingcat Podcast MH17 novel, The Hurricane Tapes, Steve Crossman and Joel Hammer for BBC World Service, The Last Days of August, the John Munson Lies and Mystics for Audible UK, The Missing Crypto Queen, Georgia Cat and Jamie Bartlett for BBC Sounds, Unheard, the Fred and Rose West tapes, Something Else.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. Cheers. Hello, my name is Bex. I'm a presenter on Fun Kids, which is a children's radio station, in case you didn't know. And it is my job and honour to announce the nominees for Best Wellbeing Podcast. So here we go. The nominees are Declassified from Michael Coates, Gabba by Adam Martin, Hooked, the Unexpected Addict from BBC Radio 5 Live, No Really, I'm Fine from Reach, Rainbow Dads, Richard and Nicholas, and The Sound of Anger from Queen Mary Centre for the History of Emotions. Congratulations to everybody who got nominated. Fingers crossed, good luck. And I guess it's over to you.
Thanks, Bex. Okay, let's have a look at 2 of our special categories. One is for smaller audiences and one is for bigger ones. So first, our Bullseye Award, supported by Blue Microphones, who are podcasts with an audience of less than 5,000 listens. We've asked judges to highlight the cream of the crop. So the nominees for the Bullseye Award, supported by Blue Microphones, are After Surviving Sexual Assault, BBC Sounds, Strong Manchester Women, Vic Elizabeth Turnbull at MIC Media, The Investor's Guide to China, Fidelity International, The Offensive, Stakhanov, Things Unseen, Entombed, CTVC. This is Spoke, Penguin Random House UK, Fremantle and BMG. Congratulations. Next, we turn our attention to the larger podcasts in the Spotlight Award, supported by DAX. This is for excellence from the shows with over 100,000 listens per episode, basically the podcasts that are helping the sector to grow. So the nominees for the Spotlight Award, supported by DAX, are Deliciously Ella for Mags Creative, Ellis James and John Robbins, Audio Always for BBC Radio 5 Live, Happy Mum, Happy Baby, Giovanna Fletcher, My Dad Wrote a Porno, Jamie, James, Alice and Rocky, Table Manners with Jessie Ware, The Guilty Feminist, The Spontaneity Shop. Good luck to all of them. Now, let's have a look at the nominees for Best Entertainment Podcast, supported by Sony Music's Fourth Floor Creative. They are George Ezra and Friends, Help, I Sexted My Boss. That's the name of the podcast, honestly. I'm not just crying out for help. William Hanson and Jordan North for Audio Always. No Country for Young Women, Radio 1 and One Extra production for BBC Sounds. Off Menu with Ed Gamble and James Acaster, Plosive Productions. Sam Walker's Desert Diaries, Sam Walker. Something Rhymes with Purple, Something Else. Good luck, all of you. Now, in this envelope, it's another new category, and this one is supported by Audible, and it's all about podcast creativity. We asked our judges, when they were listening to the entries, to flag up any podcasts that they thought had real creative flair. So, take it away, Gregory.
Okay. Hello, it's Greg, locked in my house. And the nominees for the Creativity Award, supported by Audible, are David Williams' marvellous musical podcast, Global, Fake Heiress, BBC Radio Drama, London, for BBC Radio 4. Couple of dogs there outside. Mind Canyon, Charlie Kemp and Steve Dawson. Where is My Mind, Niall Breslin. The Sound of Anger, Queen Mary Centre for the History of the Emotions. And The Skewer, John Holmes for BBC Radio 4. Congratulations to all of you and jolly good luck. All right, next.
Hi, I'm Angela Scanlon, sitting at home in my gaff, having the time of my life. Okay, you want to hear who the nominees are? Guess that's why we're here. The nominees for Smartest Podcast, supported by Rethink Audio, are Food Actually, Chalk and Blade, The Pushkin Industries for Luminary Media, Power Corrupts, Brian Kloss, Tales of Silicon Valley, The Times Wireless Studios, The Listening Service, Radio 3 Production, The Sound of Anger, Queen Mary Centre for the Histories of the Emotions, and The Tip-Off by Maeve McClenaghan. Smartest podcast, Best of luck.
Hello, I'm Tudur Owen and I am in the north of Wales. So, the nominees for Best Podcast in the Welsh language are Dyma'r enwebiadau am y podlediad gorau yn yr iaith Gymraeg. Dwy Iaith, Un Ymenydd, Ellis James, produced by Alpha for BBC Cymru. Siarad Sex Acid, BBC Cymru. Haclediad, Bryn Salisbury, Iestyn Lloyd and Sioned Mills. Pob lwc I chi gyd, all the very best of luck.
Thank you. Okay. The nominees for Acast Moment of the Year are Queer AF, Jamie Wareham for National Student Pride, Happy Place, Fern Cotton, No Such Thing as a Fish, No Such Thing as a Fish, Rahalistipa, Sky Potato, Go Faster Stripe, and Fuzz Productions, Tunnel 29, Helena Merriman for BBC Radio 4 and BBC Sounds, Ways to Change the World, Channel 4 News. None of them are my podcast.
And that's it. Those are the nominations done. Remember that all the winners from each category will be pitted against each other, battling it out to take home the prestigious Audioboom Podcast of the Year. And remember, you can hear clips from all the nominees on our Shortlist podcast. Now, when we were planning the awards, we didn't necessarily foresee a global pandemic. And having listened to Boris, it seems like having an in-person award ceremony in July perhaps isn't the best thing to do. Fear not, though, because the British Podcast Awards, powered by Acast, will still be happening in July, albeit slightly more virtually. So, get your diaries out and pop in the night of Saturday, the 11th of July. But this isn't going to be your regular live stream. No. So, if you plan to be watching, nominated or not, be sure to RSVP at britishpodcastawards.com/RSVP, and you may end up being part of the fun. Now, we're not quite done with awards just yet. There's still one that hasn't been chosen, and that's the Listener's Choice Award, supported by BBC Sounds. Any UK podcaster qualifies for it, and it's voted for by the general public. In fact, your listeners can vote for you right this second. So just send them to britishpodcastawards.com/vote. That's britishpodcastawards.com/vote. And they've got until midday on Monday, the 6th of July to cast their ballots. Obviously, terms and conditions apply, and you can read them all on the British Podcast Awards website, so enjoy that. Nominees announced. Special announcements made. I think that's about it from us here. Thank you very much to all of our guest announcers, and remember to follow BritPod Awards on Twitter and Instagram to hear updates from us and the occasional state of play from the Listener's Choice Award. Thank you to the team at Sony Music's Fourth Floor Creative for helping us with this stream, and thank you to all of our other sponsors: Pod Bible, Rethink Audio, Radioplayer, Latitude Festival, Factory Studios, Podfollow, 4DC, Pod News, Blue Microphones, Spotify, Dax, Audible, Audioboom, and BBC Sounds, plus a very special thank you to our headline sponsor, Acast, whose support means that we can do all of this. Right, so things to remember. Subscribe to the Shortlist podcast, get Saturday night, the 11th of July in your diary, and encourage your listeners to vote for you in the Listener's Choice Awards, supported by BBC Sound at britishpodcastawards.com/vote. I've been Rhianna Dhillon. Stay alert, and we'll see you on July the 11th for the British Podcast Awards 2020, powered by Acast. Yay!